How's it going there, my friends? This is Passion for Truth coming at you with another video. Today we're going to talk about creationism versus evolution. The two different worldviews that one may have in today's society, pretty much all throughout history, right? That's the only two viewpoints that we really have to look at today. You either believe that you were created by an almighty creator, a God of some sort, whether you believe in the God of the Bible or a different God. You know, everybody's welcome here. I don't cut anybody out. I don't ever turn comments off. You're more than welcome here as long as you stay civil. I know that this topic sends people spiraling, and I kind of expect that in the comments. It's all well and good. Everybody's welcome here until you get out of line or you're disrespectful. If you come here with respectful intentions, then I will continue to let you engage in the comment section. Okay? So, because I understand how much passion people bring into this conversation, right? I always have myself. But today we're going to look at it from my perspective, right? This is my channel, my opinion. If you don't like it, go find somebody else that you agree with and watch their videos. But I'm going to approach this from a very commonsensical perspective. I always like to use Occam's razor, a lot. You'll hear me say that in my videos. The explanation that has the least amount of assumptions is usually the correct way, the correct path, the right answer. That's not always the case, but typically it is. And so that's how we're going to look at it today. Which one makes more sense commonsensically, evolution or creation? And I like to use Ray Comfort's approach to this. I've always loved the way that he approached the whole creationism topic and explaining it to the average person, to the masses, when he went out there in the streets talking to random people. Now, this isn't going to be, Ray Comfort verbatim. It's going to be kind of my own spin on it. But nonetheless, this is basically where I get the idea. Now, a lot of you might not like Ray Comfort. There's a lot of people out there that disagree with him. There's things that I disagree with Ray Comfort on. Like, Ray Comfort doesn't want anything to do with biblical cosmology, like true biblical cosmology, right? I know that he is not a flat earther, for lack of a better words. He doesn't believe in Hebrew cosmology. He believes in the worldview of today, that we live on a spinning ball, and he looks at the scriptures with that viewpoint in mind. And he doesn't want to touch that topic with a 1,000-foot pole. I get that. And that's one thing that I wish that, Ray Comfort would actually look into, because it would shed more light on his personal beliefs. It would make the scriptures make more sense to him, because the Bible is a flat earth book from cover to cover. But let's brush that aside. We're not talking about that today, even though that's typically what I talk about on my channel. Today, we're just simply talking about evolution versus creationism from a very simplistic viewpoint, perspective. Excuse me. So if I told you that this book right here, look how big this book is, by the way. And for anybody that's wondering, it's The Greatest Lie on Earth. Proof that our world is not a moving globe. Okay? Written by Edward Henry. This is the Flat Earth Bible right here. Anything you want to know about Flat Earth, if you're looking into it, this is an amazing book to read. And you can see it's long, full of a lot of pages and pictures. And this is an amazing book. Can't promote it enough, right? But let's get into it. To be somebody who believes in evolution, like if I told you this book and all its complexity right here, right? All these words. If I told you this book wrote itself through a process of billions of years, right? Let's think about what that means, okay? Let's go back billions and billions of years. And this was just a blank, it was two covers and a bunch of blank pages billions of years ago, right? First of all, you have to figure out how it actually even got the cover. and the blank pages? Where did that come from? That's question number one. But let's take it from there, right? Let's say over the course of the next few billion years, letters started to appear on the blank pages. Okay? Letters started to appear on the blank pages. They didn't make any kind of sense. You couldn't make out any word, let alone a sentence or a paragraph. Okay? And then over the process of the next few billion years, the letters started to move around. Okay? Letters were starting to move around. Like you noticed that letter wasn't there, that letter wasn't there. They started to move around and started to reorganize themselves. And then over the next billion years, words started to form out of those scrambled letters. You can actually start to read words in those scrambled letters. So you're like, oh, something's going on here, right? This is the process of evolution in a book. So next billion years, words actually started to form sentences, and you can actually start to read cohesive sentences after another few billion years. And then after another few billion years, sentences turned into paragraphs. And you kind of get where I'm going, right? To where eventually, what started out was a scrambled mess that you couldn't understand, turned into paragraphs that you can now read and make sense of. And then eventually, over billions and billions of years, a book was written, a book was formed. And everything in the book was readable and cohesive and made logical sense. But it took billions and billions of years for that book to go from blank pages and a cover to a novel, a masterpiece. If I told you that's how this book formed, you would think that I was batshit crazy, would you not? You would think that I was absolutely nuts. What about cars? You know, we look at a car, we look at all the intricacies that go into an automobile. The engine, the motor, the tires, the gadgets on the inside today, the technology, all the intricacies, the belts, the time, you know, everything. Over the process of a billion years, a car went from a scrambled mess and evolved into a perfect performing sports car, right? All the intricate details of the car came together somehow over the course of billions of years. Now, you would tell me I'm absolutely crazy. There's no way that could happen. It had to have a creator. The car had to have a manufacturer. The book had to have an author. It had to have a creator. The necessary antecedent for creation is a creator. It's common sense. So let's now look at humans, right? We like to think, some of us like to think that we evolved from stardust. In the process of a billion years, we went from stardust or goo, right? Or maybe, you know, depends on who you ask. You know, Darwinian evolution states that somehow we were fish or we were exoskeletons like lobsters or something like that in the oceans. And then after a while of billions of years of evolution, we started to walk off swim out of the water and then walk on land, turn into an endoskeleton, grow limbs, turned into monkeys, and then, you know, and monkeys turned into men. That's the short version of it, right? Think about how insane that is when there's absolutely no proof to begin with. There's absolutely no proof. There's no transitional fossils that ever show us anything anywhere close to that kind of evolution. Okay. But a lot of people believe that. But think about this. Think about like how simplistic this book is. This book, all it was just a bunch of words that somebody actually just wrote on paper. It's very simplistic. Somebody out of somebody's mind, they put words on paper and made cohesive sense out of it. And it's very simplistic, but if you look at the human body, the human anatomy, just the eye alone, our vision alone, right? What our eyeball actually does and what it's able to do, the complexity of it. Think about it, like your eye sees things and it sees colors and it transmits those colors and into your brain and tells your brain exactly what you're looking at. Like, I mean, inside of let's think about our DNA. Our DNA literally has written code inside of it that somebody had to put there. It didn't just evolve over billions of years. This code was put into our DNA and makes up the fiber of us as our foundation. Think about how complex that is. Now, you thought that something this simple, words on paper, when I told you that this book wrote itself over billions of years, you thought that was absolutely crazy. But now you think that something as complex as the human body could have evolved over billions and billions of years. You think that that's okay. You think that that's normal to think. I got to tell you, my friend, that's absolutely insane to me. But I digress. I always, like I said, I always look at things from a very simplistic viewpoint. And I could have stopped at this. The necessary antecedent to creation is a creator. We'd never believe that, like a masterpiece of art, like, you know, like the Mona Lisa, right? A lot of people know the Mona Lisa. I'm just going to use something that a lot of people know, right? If I told you that the Mona Lisa created itself over billions of years, nobody ever touched a paintbrush to the canvas. It just created itself over billions of years. You would tell me I'm nuts. Nobody would believe you. Nobody would believe me, right? So why do we believe that we evolved over the process of billions of years when we are far, far more complex than any of these things? Far more complex. The things that our mind can do and the things that we can manifest into our lives alone tells us that we were created. And if you think otherwise, so I mean, and this is just a journey, right? So now that we figured out that evolution on a macro scale is absolutely insane, now we just got to figure out who God really is, right? Who is God? And that is everybody's personal journey, in my opinion. Right? Everybody's personal journey. But at least that's a starting point. So if you're watching this video and maybe this is the first time you've ever heard this kind of approach and it makes sense to you, it should make absolutely rational sense to you. Maybe you're an atheist, right? Maybe you're agnostic. You kind of been on the fence and you don't really know. Well, I gotta tell you, now you know. Now you know that you're created. With absolute certainty. Now it's your personal journey to figure out who you are, who created you. If that's the God of the Bible or not. I'm not here to tell you that it is. I believe that it is. But that's faith. I have faith that the God of the Bible is my God. That's where faith comes in. Everybody has to have a little bit of faith in their lives. Right? If you trust science, you have faith in science. Scientism is the world's biggest religion, whether you want to believe that or not. You've been fed nothing but lies since you started grade school. Nothing but lies. But you were too young to be able to rationalize it, to be able to ask the right questions, to test it. To test what you were being told or sold. And the moment that you figure out that you've been lied to, that's only where your journey begins. But it has to begin somewhere. And I hope that this video helps somebody. I don't want to keep going. I don't want to make it too long. I was trying to make this under 15 minutes, so we're right at it. I just wanted to tell you that, you know, you're created by an almighty, all-loving God that cares deeply about you. And I always have to constantly remind myself of that. And my personal journey was that I was always a Christian for the most part. At least consider myself a Christian for most of my life, all my adult life. But I backslid, just like a lot of people do. Got away from God. Started to question whether or not he actually cared about me, to be completely honest. And I started praying. God, if you're really real, first of all, show me that you care about me. And second of all, show me the truth. Show me your truth. Educate me, you know, teach me. And from that point, I think God has led me on a journey. And he's revealed a lot of things to me. And I'm still, every day, I'm just hungry to learn more and more. And nobody ever arrives. There is no arrival in this spiritual world that we live in. We're constantly growing. So if you're on your own journey, I just say, look, if you ever want to reach out to me as a friend, I'm here. I love talking to anybody that is passionate about this. And in my opinion, if you're not passionate about it, if you're not at least questioning these things, then what are you doing? That's my question. What are you doing? You have to wonder why you're here, what purpose you have. And that leads you to who was your creator, who created you. And yet that personal relationship with your creator. I think that's the most important part, is finding a relationship with the one that created you. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope this made some sense to you. And I'm going to kind of leave it off I'm going to kind of leave you with a funny question, right? This is a kind of a silly question to the atheist. If you're still an atheist watching this video, if you believe that you evolved from fish, right? Your ancestors were fish. If you really believe that, my question to you is, if you eat fish, is it fair to say that you're eating your ancestors? And that's my question to you. I know it sounds silly, but hey, it's just the way my twisted mind works. And I'll leave you with that. Until the next video, this is Passion for Truth signing out. Remember, take care, God bless, love each other, always be thinking, right? Use that noggin of yours, ask questions, and continue to grow. And we'll see you on the flip side. Peace. God bless.